Okay, I'd like to call the meeting to order, please. Um, We do have a quorum, and a consent agenda. Will, would you do the invocation?
Sure. Rise, please. Please join me in prayer. Our Heavenly Father, we come before Thee this day, asking for your guidance, your blessings, and your strength. We ask that you bless us in this heat and show us as we are neighbors and friends that we go forward with Thy Spirit, and that you bless this council to make the proper decisions for this council and our community, and bless us always. In His name we pray, amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance.
To the flag.
I pledge allegiance to America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Do we have any communications from the audience, CD? Okay, I'd like to get a motion to approve the minutes from the regular meeting on May the 18th.
So moved.
Second,
I'll second that motion.
all in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. A motion to accept the minutes to the special meeting on May 19th.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay, there's a lot going on. I printed out the information that I have on the grants and gave each one of you all a copy of it. I printed it with large print so I can read it. So on the $11.4 million grant, Langford has emailed the appraiser to get all the appraisal numbers for Camelot, the Ivanhoe parcels, and followed up with them May the 19th and again on the 2nd, and then called them today, and they're still working on it. The issue is trying to find comps for a lake bed. It's just hard to find comps. So LJ Engineering will be submitting their final plans to CEQ. They did that on the 9th. Our surveyor is currently working on the remaining plat meets and bounds and descriptions. That's been done. So we know all of the pieces of property that need to be acquired by the city from IPOA. We're still waiting on the appraisal numbers to be able to begin the readings. On the multiple project, the $7.9 million grant, the performance statement modification was executed on May the 3rd and was uploaded into the grant administrator's file. We did a pre-bid, we did a bid opening, we had 3 contractors that showed up, only one quoted on the job. They came in $2 million above our budget. So that's kind of the good news, bad news. Bad news is it's $2 million over budget. The good news is we have an opportunity now to go back and review the type of material that we're going to use, the sections that we're going to be able to complete with the as the project is laid out, and a big part of the over budget was the ditches and the culverts, and we sat down and talked with David Marshall and the road crew, and they say that they'll be able to do it when East Texas Materials, or East Texas Asphalt Materials, went and did their bid. They could not find anybody that would do the ditches and culverts. So the president went to one company and said, please just give me a number. And they said, okay, $2 million or $1.5 million. So it was included in the budget. We're going to allow the contractor, we're going to have to go back out on open bids. We're going to have to cast a broader net this next go-round to satisfy the requirements of GLO, because they won't approve a project with a single bid. We're showing due diligence in that effort, and the material change will help us move forward with more smoothly with East Texas asphalt materials. The $1.9 million grant, we've received our second RFI. They requested a map, which has been provided, and GLO anticipates contracts possibly this summer. LJA has submitted an updated project map with the cost estimates, which removed the original sites off of Ivanhoe Drive because of the work that our commissioner is going to do. So we had 4 projects in that particular grant, and 2 of them are going to be redeployed someplace else. Let's see. The $300,000 mitigation or comprehensive plan, GLO has sent out the RFI. LGA has nothing to do with that. And Camelot, the core samples are done, the surveys are complete. We'll be rebidding that along with the $7.9 million bid that we'll be sending out. We don't have to go through all the gyrations with Camelot because that's bond money. So we'll be able to get started on that sooner than later. I need to talk about the dams a little bit. Rusty Harrison resigned, and we've sat down with the road crew. David Marshall and his crew are taking the dams over. We didn't have an operations manual. We didn't have a routine maintenance schedule set up. We didn't periodically open and close the valves and make sure that they were greased. The quote that we got to do the caulking on the dam was $23,000. For some reason, and I can't explain it. I thought it was the whole dam. It turns out it was just the spillway. $23,000. Will has been looking for someone besides Chance Construction because Chance is not reliable on their timing, and we never know when they're going to be able to come. It's more than just the weather. It's an inability of them to be able to commit. So he kept looking, and he found this company. It's a cement waterproofing company that's doing the remodeling of the courthouse downtown Woodville. They came out, walked the dam. They gave us a quote on the spillway of $5,900 that included wire brushing the seams, razor blading the seams, putting down backing rod. I'd never heard of that before, but it's a rubber piece that goes down inside the crevice, and then they would caulk over that. $5,900 for the spillway. That comes with a 5-year material warranty and a 1-year labor warranty, as opposed to $23,000 to come and just slap some stuff down for us. When I canceled the order, I was told that they'd already purchased the material, and I told Chance Construction that we would buy the material from them. That was $9,600, so you do the math. $23,000 bid, $9,600 in material. They were wanting to make $14,000 for a one, maybe a 2-day job. So we're going to be able to do the spillway for the $5,900. We've purchased the material that we'll be able to use in non-critical parts of the dam. And we've got a cost avoidance of $7,500. I know it's funny math, but we're not paying $23,000 just to get the spillway done. And it will never happen again. We will have much more detail on the things that we're going out on bids for. I've talked with our attorney, and they are going to be guiding us to make sure that we have all the details and questions asked and understand what it is that we're communicating on our bids for our contractors moving forward. So that's about all the good news and bad news I have. As far as the municipal court, we have our new judge is here. He's just hanging out with us this evening, Judge Jackson from Jasper. In the past 2 weeks, the court has, I don't know how the numbers are going to break out. I don't know what we're keeping, what we're sending away, but in the last 2 weeks, we've collected $2,150. That's pretty good. We went some months without that much. And now we have Chief Drumm, if you will. There's a lot of good stuff going on.
All right. Good evening.
Brandy. CD.
Oh, there we go. All right. So for last month, we had 70 calls, made 3 arrests. We got 4 active investigations at this time. It's been a pretty busy month. There is, for some that don't know, there is no more marshal's office. The marshal's office has actually been deactivated with the state of Texas. And so now we are fully up and running with the Ivanhoe Police Department. We're working on our last vehicle being upfitted. It's been dropped off at the upfitters. So hopefully within the next couple of weeks, we'll be receiving our 3rd truck back. And then so we'll actually be sitting good. We did AT&T FirstNet. We migrated from Verizon with the city to AT&T FirstNet, which actually puts us at the very top tier of the cell service in the event of the disaster or anything like that. So our internet will continue to run spot on without any problems, which will actually allow more reliability for law enforcement and emergency management purposes. Besides that, I think we got a lot of projects in the works right now. So be looking forward. We're going to be having a Meet the Officers Night coming up in July. We're looking at some different options on how we're going to do that. Then also doing a joint venture with the Tyler County Sheriff's Office as well at a different time. And that's about it.
So just to explain what FirstNet is, think of it as a super freeway, 3 lanes. You have the fast lane, the middle lane, and the slow lane. The fast lane is intended for emergency management, continuity of government, EMS, police, and fire. In an emergency, each one of these numbers that reside in the FirstNet are vetted out to be approved to be on that bandwidth. As that bandwidth fills up, they bump non-essentials down to the middle lane. And as that middle lane fills up, the less essential gets bumped down to the slow lane. So all your emergency management functions and EMS, fire, police, continuity of government will all be running in that fast lane. And it's a good thing. It's worked great for the fire department. They have excellent coverage everywhere. And I have to commend Chief Drumm for working tirelessly on the conversion from the marshal's office to the police department, for helping in the selection and search and finding of the vehicles that we now have and enjoy, and working on getting this FirstNet going. So thank you, Chief Drumm, for all your hard work. I had one fella come up here before the meeting and said that he was leaving here one evening and saw a vehicle pulled off on the side of the road, broken down. And one of our police officers didn't go past them. They stopped. They made sure that the individual was okay. The car wasn't running. They called for a wrecker and remained with that individual until the wrecker showed up. I can't tell you how good that makes me feel. That we're in a position now to offer solid security to our community. It means a tremendous amount. To that point, David, you're up. You got a hard act to follow.
Let's see what we can do.
You'll do fine.
Okay. Yeah, it's on. I can hear myself. It's on.
Yeah.
Okay. Council, you have the dam reports, you have the Public Works report. Let's start with the Public Works report. Kind of like we did last time, just kind of a quick breakdown. For the month of May 2023, we had approximately 54 hours on the motor grader grading the roads, 63 to 64 hours culvert work, meaning cleaning, clearing, installing, ditch work, about 21 hours. General maintenance, 236 hours. That always takes up most of our month. That covers everything from patching to mowing, pretty much everything else out there that's not on the list. Our mixed production, our special mixed production, we only spent 14 hours. We've got a large pile already there that we can use, so we kind of backed off on that. We completed 14 work orders. Material usage for the month was 61 tons of limestone number 2 base, 45.5 tons of the SPM mix, 12 tons of the hot mix coal lay asphalt, and we installed 20 of the poly culverts of various sizes. Six of them 20 foot long, yeah, I'm sorry.
So can you tell everybody what our plan is for the ditches and culverts with regard to the grant when we finally get started?
When we get started, we have taken on the task of trying to make up the $2 million to where we can get what we need done. We've got approximately 127 culverts to install.
Along with ditch work.
Along with ditch work before the middle of September. There's 3 people on my crew. We're looking at getting a 4th. We're going to be busy. If you see things maybe not being patched as quick, mowed as quick, or something like that, this is the reason. We will do our best to do what we do and try and keep up, but it's going to be a monumental task.
I was more interested in how the timing will take place, how you'll be ahead of the curve with each project.
Sure. We start next week on Camelot replacing the culverts. That gives us, if we start now, that gives us a 3 months lead on everything that we need to be, so we should be able to keep ahead of them. That's the plan.
So last week, for the first time since the establishment of the road crew, they had 0 jobs on the board. They had caught completely up. So as a result, Will Warren and myself threw a little pizza party for the road crew, and we took some pizzas out there to them and a big jug of tea, and we sat there and ate pizza and told jokes and laughed and had a great time. It was wonderful.
We did. It was a good thing. Made the guys feel a whole lot better, like they're a part of something, and it was greatly appreciated. Thank you both. Along those lines, thank you for stealing my thunder.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's all right. We'll let it go by this
I'm
time.
sorry. I try not to do that.
No, you're good. You're good. We started working with our iWorks program, which has been really good. July of 2018. First one I put in was number 5. When we cleared the board, as you said, our war board, on June the 8th, 2023, 4 years, 11 months later, it was the first time that we had no work orders pending or in progress on the board. Now, don't get too tickled, because the next morning we had them back up there. And they've been steadily growing ever since. But the last number off the board on June 8th, 2023, remember I started with 5, was number 863. So we've done as much as we can do with the folks that we have and the equipment.
What have you done lately for us, though?
Saving you $2 million.
David, real quick question.
Sure. No, take your time.
While we're
I've
talking
got all
about
night.
material and such, I have sent contact information back and forth on folks that are interested in getting with you to give you a bid to get that material yard covered.
Oh, okay.
I was just wondering, have you heard from them, or do I need to reach out and
I haven't.
Okay.
I
I'll
have
follow
not.
up on it.
Yeah, I have not. That's really about it for the public works, unless somebody has a question.
Dave, how does a work order become a work order?
A bill is just a bill. I get a phone call. I got one late this afternoon as we were walking out the gate. Wrote down his name, wrote down his number, immediately put it in the computer. It's assigned a work order number numerically. On there, there's every bit of information that we need to get that job done.
So it's a citizen calling in, just a
Absolutely.
citizen calling in, they call in directly to
Sure.
you and.
They bypass City Hall, call directly to me on my line. We take care of them as quick as we can.
We found that having people call the city and having someone in the office enter the job into iWorks created a lot of, not all the information was being put in there, and it was causing extra work for David. So what we did was we decided that if someone calls in with needing a culvert or something to do with the roads, we direct them straight to David. He's in charge of the road crew. He's got the schedule. He knows what needs to be done, how to go about it, and that's really streamlined the whole process.
No, that's great,
That-
that's what I was curious. If
that-
there was
that's-
an intermediate step or,
No,
it just
no,
comes
no.
basically to you and you just make the call.
That's it. We've now got a scheduling procedure that usually runs, depending on the load on the board, anywhere from 1 week to 2 weeks out. If we have time, we get them quicker. If we get caught up, we get them quicker. We get bad weather, sorry folks, but it may be a day or two later than what we promised, but at least we have an approximate date to where we can tell people. That really makes them feel a whole lot better. But the information, especially we've got so many weekenders, it's important to have the email, the address, the phone number, a backup phone number so we can get in touch with them if we need them. Works well. Okay,
That's great, thank you.
thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we ready for the dams?
Yes, sir.
All right. As Skip explained, Mayor Blackstone explained, this is a first for us. I want to thank Rusty for the many years that he watched over it and did a good job. As with everything, times change, and he moved on, and it's in our plate now. And we're going to do the best that we can. There's going to be things a little differently, but it will be taken care of. We've got inspection reports that we will keep on file for each dam. TCEQ needs it, we'll have it. Something ever happens, we've got a good history of what we did, didn't do, how much care we took to make sure they're properly done. Just briefly, I don't want to bore everybody with this since they don't have a copy in front of them, but Charmaine Dam, we've got some issues, some cracks, some spalling concrete, crumbled edges, some erosion, a bulge, concrete decay. There's a lot going on there, but it's all repairable, it's all fixable, and that's what these are for, is to catch it early to where it doesn't get out of control too fast. Galahad looks pretty good. Caulk the seams, which is what you were talking about earlier. Bottom edge, we're going to start herbiciding the dams here very shortly, as soon as we can get a non-windy morning. If we don't get out there in the first 2 or 3 hours, the wind usually picks up, and we're just not going to spray herbicide all over everybody and everything. So bear with us. You'll see our little buggy. It'll have the light. Slow down, please. I need my guys. We'll also start doing some herbicide in the ditches as we can. We're going to use a product that kills all the woody vegetation but leaves the grass untouched. And if you look in these ditches, even though we try and mow them as quick as we do, 3 weeks later, it's back this tall, but it's all with the crappy plants that we don't need. The grass underneath there is actually, so we're going to start that.
So if you haven't noticed, the broken guardrail on the Charmaine Dam has been repaired. It looks great. Looks like it was it's been there all along. So it was unrepaired for a long time, and now it's back in place and secured properly. The road crew again took care of that for us.
We're just such a talented bunch.
They are such a talented bunch.
I've got excellent employees. I do want to take just a minute here. I've got 3 that are with me now. The 4th one is on medical leave. I want to holler out at Joe Schreck, our maintainer operator. May the 20th, he completed his 2nd year. Gabriel Soto, that does everything and outworks everybody there at 70-something years old. He is going to, I think, June 28th, something like that. He will have completed 6 years. The others have already had theirs. Sorry, guys, but I can't remember them. So if you're watching, forgive me. We've got a great crew. They work hard. They're out there in the elements. We did give them permission as of noon today. They want to wear shorts so long as they're comfortable, presentable, with the proper shoes. Go ahead and do it. It's hot out there. We don't need anybody falling out. It is, Steve, he knows it's hot out there. That's just something that we can do to help them along and keep them moving and working. But a good bunch of guys. If y'all see them out there, give them a shout. Thank them. Throw something at them.
A bottle of water.
You beat me to it. Throw a bottle of water out there, preferably ice cold. Good bunch. Good bunch.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Thank you.
If I may, talk about the dams a little bit.
Yes.
Charmaine Spillway. We have been in contact with Marsh Waterproofing, and they, the bid to caulk the spillway is $5,900. Now that comes with a 5-year warranty on material, 1 year on contractor warranty. And they said that once we get that dam dry, they'll come out in 1 day and caulk that dam. 24 hours later, we can close the valve. And Mr. Marsh and I have walked these dams, as David and I and Joe Schreck, and we have 12,337 feet of caulking we need to do. And we got a bid of $3.50 per foot to do this caulking. And he's sending me bids back that we can do it in sections and look at it. The upstream side of Charmaine needs to be caulked. That's a critical part of it, and we'll be looking at that one. Rusty did a fine job for us. He got us where we are today. But there's a lot of questions that's been raised. We don't have an operating manual for these dams on the valves. Voids. What about the voids in the dam? Is there a better way to find the voids? So we talked to 2 different engineering companies. They have provided, LJA is one. They have an engineer on board who does the Woodlands Dam. Another engineer out of San Antonio. So if we decide we want to bring an engineer in to get an operations manual, specifics on these dams, then we need to go out for bids on it and acquire these services. Part of that is that LJA has also set a geotech company that can come in and x-ray these dams, Galahad and Charmaine, and we can go over them and find out where these voids are. So to have an engineer come out, we're looking at $10,000. Geotech, we're looking in the neighborhood of $11,000. We figure maybe 2 days.
Yeah, that's ground penetrating radar.
Ground penetrating radar. Then we know what we have. We know where we're at, what we need to do. Questions about the 1-lane bridge on Charmaine. You go over the one end towards Chuck Marshall Park and you hear thump, thump, thump. Well, we need to know, is there structural damage in there? We need to know what's going on. We need to fix that. So there's questions that we have that we need to get answered. And that's where we are right now. I'm going to ask the mayor and ask council to approve that we get Marsh Waterproofing to come out and caulk the spillway so we can close that up. And then if we can go forward with that, and then we can talk about, do we want an engineer to come out, and do we want the geotech people out? And what are we going to do from that? We could pull money out of the ARPA funds for the engineers and geotech. All questions we need to get answered so we have a good foundation for the public works to grow, to take care of these dams with. One thing we did do is that we did get measuring sticks for for the road, for the Public Works. So when they measure how much water is going over the spillway, they have an actual measurement. Is it 1 inch, 2 inch? And we have a measurement. We want to know, when we open that valve, how much water comes out of there how many gallons per hour. So we know how long to leave it open, when to open it. So if we're 4 inches over the spillway, do we need to open that valve and for how long? And that's what engineers can provide information for us for. And that's where we are with the dams. The main critical part is that get the spillway done, get the mayor and council to approve that. If we get it, when it looks like we can get it dry, I've talked to him on the phone every day this week, been walking the dam with him 2 days this week. He said that I'll bring a crew in here. If it's dry on Wednesday, I'll bring a whole crew in one day, and we'll caulk that spillway for you.
If 24 hours later, we can
Close it.
close it. Or I should say, it'll be cured.
It'll be cured and we can close the valve.
Yeah.
And that's where we are today with the rest of the dams.
Yeah, the other caveat is that the road crew might be able to do some of the caulking on the less critical parts of the dams. We don't know just yet. It's a bandwidth issue. We don't want them to be overzealous and take on something that they're not prepared to do for the rest of their lives. So that's it. Will has done a lot of work on this, and it's greatly appreciated. And we the ground penetrating radar is something that needs to be done. I understand it was done years ago, but that would give us a benchmark. It would be a little more scientific than tapping on it with a stick and listening to the way it sounds. So that's all on that, right?
When the material that we bought back from Chance, we are going to use on the dams.
Yes.
We're going to use it in the less critical areas where it will hold up better. We are going to be out there when they do the caulking, so we see how it's done and see their workmanship. So this is going to be phase 1 of it. Thank you, sir.
One question, Will?
Sure.
Do we know how much we have to draw down to get dry? Is it another foot or two? Or, I mean, we know how much we need to draw?
It's,
No, we don't know. It's a scientific guess. We're about dry now.
Okay.
David and I have looked at the dam every day, twice a day. We've closed the valve. I think you reopened it today, didn't you?
In the morning.
In the morning. We're going to reopen it and get it down maybe another 6 inches.
Oh, okay.
If we get it dry, and if council approves it and agrees to this, then I'll get the mayor to sign this. As soon as it's dry, I'll get him out here, and we're going ahead.
we're trying to get all this done and the valves closed and the leg level back up for the 4th of July weekend.
That's what I was kind of trying to figure out.
Yeah, that's the driving force right there.
We're on it. I mean, we've been searching high and low for another company that
Yes,
would come
ma'am,
out and
can
do
I have a
it.
motion to move forward with the,
I make a motion to move forward with those suggestions.
I'll second.
all in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Motion passes.
You can sign after the meeting if you want.
Oh, I'll do it. Mr. Yarbrough, Chief Yarbrough.
Hello, everyone. So I wanted to just take a quick minute and thank everyone for their support with the fish fry that we had over a couple weekends ago. It was a great fundraiser for the fire department, and glad to see the community involvement there. Coming up on the 4th, on July the 1st, we will be having our annual fireworks display held right here on the dam. We'll be starting that at dusk. Typically, it's about right about 9 o'clock is when we normally start that presentation for everybody. In addition to the fireworks, we're also going to be selling snow cones for the kids or anybody who would like a snow cone. We'll be doing that right in front of the IPIOA office for those who want to participate. Because we are doing fireworks, we would like to remind everyone of some brief fireworks safety that's out there. And to watch out for your children. They're your number one thing that we need to be looking out for. Over half the fireworks-related injuries are coming from children under 5 years old, particularly revolving around sparklers. So sparklers can reach temperatures of up to 2,100 degrees, which is almost welding temperatures. So please be careful with fireworks and your children. Remember to keep a bucket of water or a charged hose around when you're doing your own fireworks, and just be cognizant of the area where you're lighting off those fireworks. Make sure that you don't have any dry leaves. Make sure you're not pointing those fireworks towards anybody or a house that's going to catch on fire. In addition to that, please keep in mind, be cognizant of your neighbors and your pets. Pets do not like the sounds of your fireworks. Please let them inside your home. If you can't let them inside, give them a safe place to hide. And if they're able to run, make sure you have current tags or a microchip on them so that you can get your pets back. In addition to that, because of all of these things that are going on, the Ivanhoe Volunteer Fire Department needs help from the community. We're looking for people who can help us do other things than just fight fires. We need pump operators, drivers, grant writers, researchers, people who can help us with procurement, logistics, mechanics, handymen, anybody who can help with fundraising, organization, and even graphic designers. If you're able to help, please reach out to me. Fire department does meet every Monday at the fire department at 6:30. My number and email are on the screen there. If you guys can, please take those down. Reach out to me directly. Thank you.
Is that it?
That's it.
Thank you, Brandon. Ms. Williams, you're up. Speaking, is your microphone on? You need to speak into it. I had complaints that you were too quiet.
I work in a library.
I know. I get it.
Believe me, that library is
that was
not
good,
quiet
wasn't it?
anymore.
That was awesome.
Okay, so we're bringing an ordinance to you about amending the size, square footage of homes. It was sent in your packet, I believe, is ordinance 2023-8. If you'd like to read it, do you want me to read it, or
Yes,
you
ma'am,
already got it?
please.
Okay. It says, whereas the existing ordinance regarding minimum square footage to new dwelling units do not address smaller lot sizes, whereas it is not possible to construct a 1,000 square foot minimum structure while reserving land for septic and water system. It is acknowledged that smaller dwelling units are more affordable to build and maintain. Whereas the City Council has found it in the best interest of the city residents to reduce the square footage in the districts and building types where the minimum area is required. Now therefore it be ordained, the City Council of the City of Ivanhoe, Texas, that in 152.001 intent of provisions, other than the case of fire or national disaster in Districts 1 and 3, the owner of manufactured home may remove manufactured home from the property and place other manufactured home on the same property, provided that the new manufactured home is at least 600 minimum square feet or 800 square feet minimum if the property is lakefront. Refer to the definitions. If a manufactured home is removed from District 2, it shall be replaced with brick or wood home as is specified in the chapter. For the 152.110, the regulations for single-family dwelling and a manufactured home, the minimum floor area per dwelling shall be 600 or 800 square feet if the property is lakefront. The property consisting of adjoining lots, lakefront definition is property consisting of single lot or adjoining lots under the same ownership that shares common boundaries with lake and shoreline, lake edge, or lake bed. Minimum square for the single manufactured home residential. Part C, area regulations, minimum floor area per dwelling shall be at least 600 square feet or 800 feet if the property is lakefront. Refer to the definitions for lakefront. In the single-family residential, area regulations 154.118. Area regulations on C is minimum floor area dwelling 600 square feet or 800 if the property is lakefront. Refer to lakefront definitions. Single-family manufactured home residential and family camping under 154.119. Minimum square area per dwelling shall be 600 square feet or 800 square feet if property is lakefront. Refer to lakefront definitions for definition. 154.120, attached residential area regulations. Minimum square foot per dwelling shall be 600 square feet or 800 square feet if the property is lakefront. Refer to the lakefront definitions. Minimum flooring area per unit area at 154,160. Minimum dwelling unit areas specified in this chapter shall be computed exclusive of breezeways, garages, open ports, carports, and accessory buildings. For single-family residential and manufactured home, a minimum floor area per dwelling unit shall be 600 square feet or 800 square feet if the property is lakefront. Refer to definitions for lakefront. And the repealer clause, saving clause, severability clause. So, what this basically boils down with so many sections is there's a lot of sections in our housing codes that we will be addressing. This is the first step that we're going to addressing, and this is strictly about the square footage of a home, whether it's 600 feet or 800 feet on it, if it's on a lake or lake bed, because sometimes our lakes go dry, and being able to build them. Right now, we have it set at 1,000 feet, and most of our lots are almost not big enough to build a 1,000 square foot home safely with septic and water
So essentially, the only thing that is changing is the square footage.
of our homes,
Okay.
of new homes coming in and everything. This will also be retroactive for the past homes. That way, anybody who already has a 600 or 800 square foot, they are now in compliance with the rules.
There's
Discussion?
nothing in this ordinance that addresses the definition of a manufactured home, right? That's something,
That is federally defined.
okay.
So y'all put a lot of thought into this.
We did. This is our first bite of it, considering we each know of about at least 2 people per person on the P&Z that are actually waiting to see what the minimum square footage is, because they're not willing to buy land out here unless they can put that smaller home out here.
You're talking about tiny homes?
No,
No,
tiny homes is a
small.
brand name, and it is very specifically under 600 square foot, which we don't receive as much tax money for.
All right.
So the discussion originally was to have tiny homes, small homes, and regular homes, but the decision apparently has fallen on a minimum square footage of 600 square feet. So we can't call them tiny homes, but as we get older, less is more. We don't want a 2,000 square foot house, and there's a number of people.
Honestly, in the 60s, a square foot home of 900 or 1,000 was a large home.
Yes.
Today's standards has changed.
Yes, so a
We're
one-bedroom
back and
apartment is about 600 square feet.
Yeah, 1-bedroom apartment.
Do we have a motion? Do we want to move forward?
I make a motion, we approve it as read.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Motion passes. Good job.
Thank you. They worked hard on it.
Okay. Consider for discussion action to rebid the HMGP Supplemental construction contract. That's the $7.9 million bid that we have to rebid that came in $2 million over. Do I get a motion to allow me to rebid this?
Also move.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Consider for discussion and action to rebidding the supplemental construction. I'm not sure which one that is, CD.
Okay, the first part was reject the bid.
Yes, sir.
The second was to go out for.
New bid.
Okay. So I want, the first one was to reject the bid, and then the second one is, this one is, I need a motion to go back and rebid this.
I'll make a motion to rebid.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Passes. Consider for discussion a request for us to rebid the bond construction for Camelot. That was included in this last bid. It was rejected.
Also move.
Second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Camelot should be a little easier. We should be able to start it sooner than any of the rest of them because it's the remaining bond money that we don't have to deal with the grant administrators and all of the stuff that goes with that. Consider for discussion, action resolution 2023-8R, legal representation and prosecuting attorney. Do I have a motion to,
I'll make a motion.
second?
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you, Sean. The, consider for discussion, action amending the fiscal year 2023 American Recovery Plan Act budget. Mr. Warren, you're up.
Thank you, Mayor. The engineers, the geotech people, the caulking that we have need to get done on these dams. We have in the ARPA fund $35,134 that we're going to use for public restroom. As much as I'd like to do that, I think the dams are more important. I'd like to move this money, or a portion of this money, over as we see fit, so we can get these dams caulked, get them up to where they need to be, and then take up the public restroom at a later date. So I'd like to take a motion that we move at least $20,000 out of this fund over to the dams, redo this budget. So we have $20,000 more for dams and leave $15,134 for that public restroom. Maybe move the rest of that money if we need to later, but right now, I think we need to start off with that. We're looking at probably, we're gonna, in the neighborhood of $43,200 just to do the caulking on these two dams. And you have $10,000 for an engineer, geotech at $11,800. That's $74,000, almost $75,000 right there. We do have a little bit of money left in the dam budget, so we would come back out. If we would be about $21,000 short of reaching our goal, all depending on engineer cost and geotech. But this would get us at least a better foothold on these dams. So if I could get a motion to move $20,000 out of the ARPA fund for dams and redo this budget.
Do we have comparative bids as far as the geotech services are concerned? Or is that a...
It's preliminary. It's preliminary right now. That in talking with our lawyers, Sean and company, we have to go out for bid for an engineer, and the engineers will subcontract geotech, and they may get a better price. I did get one estimate from one company, which was
The company from San Antonio?
no, that was the engineer.
Okay.
The engineers from San Antonio were $3,000 budget, and they're $250 an hour. LJA was were two engineers. They were like $7,100. So I kind of put a buffer in there. Nothing's concrete on that right yet, which we would go out for bids and see where we come out, and go from there. One thing that we did do in all this process was the engineers from San Antonio wanted the blueprints of our dams. So I was able to go down to the Tyler County Tax Office. I scanned all those to a thumb drive, and we now have those blueprints on thumb drive, and they're backed up with the tax office.
Perfect. As far as our public restroom out here is concerned, is there any legal requirement for us to even have that available?
No. It makes the community look nicer. I've seen,
As opposed to a porta potty.
yeah.
Well, I mean, is there any legal requirement for us to even provide a restroom here?
No.
Okay, so there's the option. I mean, we have a $35,000 budget for a public restroom that we're not required to have. So
It makes the community look better. It's a nicety for us to have. If you go over to Jasper and you look at their Sandy Creek Park, they have a really nice facility. I mean, it makes us look good.
Well, with that said, I'll make the motion that we move the money to move forward with the ARPA shuffling of funding, which you said we currently have 35,000, and moving the 20 would leave us an estimated 15.
15.
Okay.
And I'm being cautious with this right now. If we don't need the 20, we'll move it back.
Sure.
If we need the other 15, we'll move it over.
What the 20,000 does is it puts it in a bucket that allows us to be able to move forward with part of the plan with regard to the dams.
Right.
But it doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to hire this company to do the caulking on all of the caulking on both of the dams. We may end up doing part of it ourselves.
It's just an
Or we may-
allocation of funds that we
Yes,
have
and
something
we
to
may end
approach
up
these companies with.
prioritizing that portion, which portions of the dams get caulked first.
Sure.
And certainly the spillway is the most important and the most critical at this time.
Well, my motion stands.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, CD.
Already,
Yes, sir.
moving us fast there. My pen's having trouble keeping up.
Well, that's not a bad, that's not a bad thing.
Thankfully, it's being broadcast, so.
Yes, sir.
Okay, wow, here we go. This time around, there's more than one page for the treasurer's report. I'll try to go quickly. The financial documents, including our bank and tax class statements, were sent out to the council early in the month. The accountant's financial report and reconciliation details for each account were emailed to the council as soon as they arrived, and that was early this week. The other items to report for the month: the state comptroller direct deposited $7,039.07 on the 8th of this month for sales and use taxes, that being collected in April, reported the comptroller in May. Last month, comparison-wise, sales tax deposit was $7,851, so we dropped a bit for the month. But our fiscal year to date, ending May 31st, came in at $63,549, and compared to the last year's same month, $60,846. So we're a little bit ahead of where we were last year. We have $21,451 to go to make that $85,000 that was budgeted for sales tax income. Based on last year's remaining 3-month sales tax collections, we should be really close to making the budget by September. And I say keep supporting our local businesses. Ad valorem taxes were received on the 7th. It totaled $18,370.72. Now, $14,902 of that went to our maintenance and operations to do our everyday activities for the city. $3,468.36 went to the INS fund, and with that receipt, the total M&O collections comes to $509,185.53. That puts us $61,305.49 from making our budget for the year. And I'm kind of getting anxious at this point. I'm concerned that the ad valorem income will fall short of the budgeted income based on our fiscal year 2022 payments from June through September last year, which totaled $37,157. Okay, the calculated balance of delinquent taxes stands at $348,546 as of the end of May, and that's something that is carried. Our accountants keep up with that real close, and it's something that we'll have to look at some point with our delinquent tax attorneys. Now, that total of $348,546 is aggregate amount that's built up from 2010 to current. Now, over in Ivanhoe North, for that 1 year they were in existence, their unpaid taxes, penalties, and interest comes to $5,301, and that's $38 less than it was the same period last year. Somebody paid. On the interest and sinking side of the May payment brings the total ad valorem collections to $118,360 and a few cents. Principal and interest payment coming due in August totals $106,987.50. So our bond repayment fund will be able to cover that payment with a little over $11,372 remaining for the future. Based on our fiscal year 2022 ad valorem income the remainder of the year, I expect that balance over in the INS fund to be close to $20,000. It'll go towards next year's INS payments. Our pledged securities at Citizens State Bank total $211,089 above the $250,000 FDIC insurance, giving the city a cushion of $324,000 above our deposits as of the end of May. Our text class interest rate has been relatively stable, around 4.9% through most of the month. Man, I'd love to make that on my. The remaining balance in the 2019 bond fund as of the end of May was $382,154. We'd paid engineer some funds, and so that dropped it from the 390 something what it was last month. The remaining amount payable to LJ Engineering will be $28,440. So not including any interest that accrues until the funds are spent, the balance available for construction, $353,714. So always have to keep in the back of the mind, instead of having close to $400,000 for construction work, we still got to pay the engineer too. On June 2nd, Congress passed the Fiscal Responsibility Act of 2023, legislation that raised the federal debt ceiling in order to pay bills that had been committed by Congress when the 2023 budget was passed. That act includes 81 rescission provisions that rescinded funds from 6 COVID-era bills that were passed between 2020 and 2022. Now, I said, that doesn't have much impact on us. Well, it actually doesn't. The state and local fiscal recovery funds from the American Rescue Plan Act were not rescinded, so we don't have to pay what we haven't expensed in ARPA yet. The funds.
We have to spend the ARPA funds quickly.
We have a deadline coming up in August, I believe, of 2024.
So we have time.
We have a bit of time,
Okay.
yes, sir. The funds distributed to cities remain the city's funds, whether or not they've been obligated yet, up until that deadline. I emailed council the deadline calendar for both when the anticipated, I put that in parentheses there, adopted tax rate does not exceed the voter approval tax rate, and when the anticipated tax rate will exceed the voter approval tax rate. Now, you saw those, I don't know what, 6 or 7 pages for each one of those. Well, we're waiting for the multi-page calculation form to be completed by the Tyler County Tax Assessor Collector, so we'll have a determination of the no new tax revenue or the voter approval tax rates for council in order to set the fiscal year 2024 tax rate for the budget that it will fund. And we're getting close to time for working on the budget. Fun times. Although it's not really that difficult, since our department heads will actually be getting with the mayor so can figure out where we're going. I requested council not to approve the April financial report last month because the accountant had provided the budget comparison the day of the council meeting, and I didn't have time to review it and go over it for any needed corrections. Well, that's now been done. I'm asking the council to approve the April financials, which is that agenda item. And also the accountant's monthly report for May arrived Tuesday, and with some minor corrections for line items, the totals on all the various department budgets are correct. The bank statements are reconciled, and the May financials, I say, can be approved as well. Something that Councilman Warren had discussed with me, I had actually coded the herbicide treatment over to the Public Works Department, so we'll fold that back over to the Dams Department, as well as mowing Tristan Dam. So that will decrease that $25,000 that's in that line item for dams by that amount, and it'll show up next month. So that's my report. You've seen the handout that I had for you going over the budget for the comparison for April and May, and Mayor Blackstone had printed out the totals of each account over in text class as well as Citizens State Bank for your review. That's as of today.
Question,
Yes, sir.
just because I don't know. Do department heads get an opportunity to review their expenditures before they're submitted? They've
Yes.
done the month?
Yes.
Yeah.
The gross numbers.
Steve brings me, or I will present to him whether or not to pay a bill that's come in electronically, or if he hands it to me, I know that he's approving it.
Is that your question?
Yes. I mean, they,
Okay.
department heads, they approve all their.
And then David,
Okay.
he brings the load tickets that come in, and those are the things that, otherwise it's going to be somebody coming to me saying, can we order this? And so I'll know that it's a direct request from that
So
department.
I
head.
thought you were referring to whether or not we were providing the department heads what their expenditures had been through the
Yes.
month.
Through the
And-
month.
And we do that.
We do that? Okay.
Gross numbers.
All right. Should we, and this is just a question, should we code, like, I sent the invoice to you for mowing the dams. Should we code that with the account number for dams? Would that be easier?
Just write a note on there from Dams Fund or from Public Works Funds, or in the case of Steve and his department, if it's a particular item for a vehicle and I don't recognize what that is, to go to that line item under their budget.
All right. Did you get that, David? All right. And then the check we wrote to Chance for the caulking. You go charge that to the dams.
Yes.
All right.
And that will show up in next
Next
month.
month.
Yes, sir.
And I'm asking questions because, for clarification.
So right along with the materials from Chance, we could have gone and picked it up. It would have been a two-man job, a whole day lost, or they could bring it over here for gas and time. I said that would be the best route, so that was $350 that we're going to pay them to deliver the material to us, to the yard out there, and we'll be able to. It would have cost us almost that to send our own people with our own vehicle. Plus, we would have lost the man-hour time that they would be able to work around here for us. So it was just made sense to have them deliver it for the charge, and that's going to be tomorrow sometime. So you need a motion to accept the April financials.
April and
And
then
May.
May. Yes, sir.
I'd like a motion to accept the April financials, please.
A motion, we accept the April financials.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
My
Aye.
battery's dead, but I.
Aye. Motion passes. I'd like a motion to accept the May financials.
I'll make a motion, we accept May financials.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Mayor, council, thank you.
CD, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
So we're going to adjourn now for just a few minutes. It shouldn't be long. We'll be back out.
We having coffee?
No, sir. We're having Tootsie Rolls.
Is this the executive meeting?
Yes, sir.
Oh,
I'm in for that.
I mean, that's my job, isn't it?
Did you get on your job here?
7:12, we're back in open session.
Can we have your attention, please, back there in the back?
I'd like a,
The lady in the hat, please. We're back in session.
okay. So I'd like a motion to approve the discussion of regarding compensation for our chief police officer, putting him on 40 hours a week with the compensation that we discussed in closed session. Do I have a motion?
I'll make that motion, Mayor.
Second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. I want to say thank you, Steve Drumm. You've worked your tail off. You've worked your fingers to the bone. You've sweat blood, and we really appreciate you.
We're glad to have you, Chief.
Speech. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
I have a motion to adjourn.
Communications from the audience.
Oh, communication from the audience, any? There they are. There they are. There they are. No communication from the audience. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion to adjourn, Mayor.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We are so adjourned. Thank you.